Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today we are going to take a look at Chapter 65 of Kaiju number 8. And if you weren't able to tell from my tone of voice already, I love this chapter. Why? It takes us right back to in what, in my mind, is the main storyline of Kaiju number 8. But what that main storyline is would be a spoiler, so I will save that for the spoiler review, which will be coming out on Sunday. This will be the non-spoiler review, and so I am just going to discuss the awesome storytelling and thematic events and how Matsumoto uses the art and fight scenes to tie the story and plot itself together. So if you remember back at the way back, right before the attack on Tachikawa base, and then even back further before that to when we first see Kafka winding down at the end of chapter 1. It's these night scenes, stars ahead, people, Kafka moving around, interacting, doing his thing. So in that first beat, we have Kafka in the t-shirt and shorts in his messy apartment. He's completely alone, not interacting with anybody. He hasn't been hanging out with his friends. He's just been living in his apartment, making a mess of it, eating ramen. He has a good job. He makes a lot of money. He's got a nice apartment. But despite all of these things that many people would consider blessings in their life, Kafka's just let himself go. He's flabby. He's chubby. He's got muscles under the flab and chub. But he just goes home, drinks and smokes himself to sleep, and stresses over having failed his promise to Mina. Then you have a time jump. But remember, I just want that imagery. The nighttime, the stars in the night sky. Kafka winding down, doing nothing to better himself, just kind of existing. Then you have a time jump to another night when Kafka's winding down at the end of the day. He's also wearing the loose t-shirt and the sweatpants, but instead of doing nothing, he's finishing up exercising. He's just been praised by Vice Captain Hoshina. He was staying up late. Instead of being in his apartment and going to bed, he was staying up late in the library studying. This was back in chapter 22 or 23, right before the attack on Tachikawa base. So you have that first beat of this story of Kafka and his relationship with other people. First, he's alone in his apartment, drinking beer, collapsing. The second one, he's alone in the library after a hard day's work with the Kaiju Defense Force, and Kafka is now connected to other people. Instead of seeing him in his apartment blocked out from the night sky, he's out on the roof of the Tachikawa Defense Force base. Again, he's having a beer before bed, but he's losing his flab. He's muscling up. He's just been talking with Vice Captain Hoshina. And this is right after Vice Captain Hoshina, I do trust at least 1% of you. After Vice Captain Hoshina said that. And Kafka is just a completely different person at this point. He's been accepted by his friends. He's been praised by his superiors. Kafka feels that his life has meaning once again. Now, this chapter, chapter 65, is the third beat in that story arc. Again, we have that art. I won't call this a spoiler. It's just telling you the ambiance of the main part of the chapter is Kafka winding down after the end of a long day. Kafka's pushing himself even harder than he was back in chapter 23, running around, but instead of feeling upbeat, instead of basking in the glow of praise from Vice Captain Hoshina and the adrenaline rush from Vice Captain Hoshina, seeing Vice Captain Hoshina, because remember, when Vice Captain Hoshina made that comment about I trust you 1%, it was right after Kafka had walked in on him doing the mental imagery training to fight Kaiju number 8, so Kafka was a little freaked out about that. And so now we have Kafka. He's just been told some disturbing news on a completely different note. He's exercising. Minor spoilers, but anyway, the ambiance is the same. It's nighttime. There are stars in the sky. Kafka's winding down. And then Kafka has this interaction just like he did. Now, in the first beat of the story, Kafka has no interactions with anybody else because he's completely isolated himself because of the lack of meaning in his life. In the second beat, Kafka was having did have interactions with somebody, because now he's part of a group. He has meaning. He has nakama. He has people he's working together with towards a common goal. Now, in this third beat, you start at the same point at the end of the day. And again, you have those interactions with people. So at the beginning of the second beat, he was alone in the library. But even now, at this point, he has so many more connections. He's trying so much harder. But his emotional tenor has changed again. And then you get the main interaction of the chapter. And it's just amazing how Matsumoto ties these stories together. There is this one panel in this chapter that is a callback to chapter 23 and chapter 22 and chapter 19 and chapter 1. And it's just the positioning of the two characters, what's happening, the emotional balance between the two characters that you know from the context of the story. Every part of this story ties into every other part, and it's just a brilliant display of writing. And if there's one thing that I take away, many people have accused this of just being basic Shonen Jump battle manga, with the only thing that sets it apart being the age of the main protagonist. But it's not. The quality of the writing in this book is excellent. And there are many elements that go into quality writing. And that is what elevates Kaiju number 8 over and above all of the other shonen battle manga, even the ones with similar plots. It's what makes it so much deeper than Attack on Titan, because everything is doing at least 3 things. Nothing in this manga is just a one-off, a random thing. Like I said, the very ambiance of the sky in the main pictures of this chapter ties it back to other parts of the story. The way the characters are standing is a mirror tying it back to other parts of the stories. The emotions the characters are experiencing tie it back to other parts of the stories. It makes this feel like a real world, that if you turned the corner from where the main action was happening, you'd see other characters you know doing things and acting things out. And that is just why I consider this one of the most brilliantly written manga. It's why Matsumoto was able to take such a basic concept that shares so many elements with so many other manga and elevate it to what is very good literature. This manga is great literature, and I think it not only has the legs to go the distance, this is one of those manga that they're going to be talking about with the greats 30, 40 years from now. But what do you think, my wonderful viewers? Do you see all the points? So just go to its page 12 and 13. That, it does that weird page-and-a-half spread. It's going to be look kind of awkward in the book, but on the electronic version, it looks really, really great. So on page 12 and 13, see how many previous chapters you can tie this image to. It's just beautiful. All right, but what do you think, my wonderful viewers? How many connections to other chapters can you find on page 12 and 13? Hit that like. Tell me what you think. Leave your comments below the video. I really love to hear from you. Hit that like and subscribe button, and peace out, my wonderful viewers. Humans are weird. We took a vote, and humans are weird. I have the data. 2 books in a series of human absurdity. Go check out these short story collections. What will our little green friends think of us when we finally do make it to space? Find out the answer in 2 books of human absurdity. Humans Are Weird, We Took a Vote, and Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and Google Play.